What is up, Senpcast, and welcome back to another episode of the Senpcast. I know it's been a while since we had an episode of this. It's been long overdue. But my co-host, Little A, he works at night, so it's kind of hard to record with him. But I had a chance to record with him this episode, but he just... Look, all I'm going to say is I'm not going to babysit. He's grown enough. I'm not going to babysit him. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to shoot this episode 2 solo. So this is a solo cast. Senpcast, solo cast. You just get the Senp. You just get the Riggy. You get the main guy from the channel. And today, if you saw the title of the video of this podcast today, we're talking about Rooster Teeth. You can see I have Rooster Teeth. I have Weiss. Ruby Scythe, and then Y Schwartz set that came out last year. As you see, they are going to be no more. Warner Brothers is officially disbanding Rooster Teeth. And you wanted Achievement Hunter, all these other branches like Achievement Hunter, all these other branches that they had were under Rooster Teeth. So all those will be disappearing and there will be no more either. I just wanted to talk about with Little A. I just wanted to just think about some memories, and I got some questions here that I want to answer. So, but we'll get to those later. One thing I will say, my reaction when I first heard it, I was surprised. I was like, what? Hearing this and after that, hearing about Toriyama, man, just back to back news you just do not expect to hear whatsoever. You do not expect to hear whatsoever. But we're here today where there will be no more Rooster Teeth from here on forward. And there will, obviously, you already seen my video on The Legend. Go check that video out. I'll have a link in the description. But today, we're going to talk about Rooster Teeth, and we're going to focus on Rooster Teeth. Now, I am by myself, so this podcast might not be as long as the first episode, but it will be a podcast nonetheless. And what are my thoughts? We're going to keep this on the good side. I know they had issues. I know they had stuff negative. I don't care about that. We're going to talk about my memories with them, how great they were when I first started watching them. And yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that I remember, one of my favorite series that they had was Achievement Hunter. It was back then when they had Ray, aka Brown Man, this guy right here. He was in the group. It was originally, when I started watching it, it was originally him, Michael, Gavin, Ryan, Jack, and Jeff. Jeff was in the video, so he was consistently in the videos because he didn't have too much to do, and he was part of the group of Achievement Hunter. Some of the Minecraft series, they started when Minecraft first came out, and they just kept that series going from day one. Minecraft came out on the Xbox. Now, some episodes I specifically myself remember. If I could definitely find like short clips of these, I'll put them on the screen. But one of the episodes I remember, it was I forgot the name of the episode, but it was where they had to find. They basically had to build a Tower of Pimps. If you don't know what the Tower of Pimp was, it was the base was the obsidian block, which they already had given to them from the start, and they had it was this big chunk that the crew team that builds for them built, where they had to find ingots in those chunks or full blocks of gold themselves to build the Tower of Pimps, which was 4 blocks of gold going up. That episode was great. That episode was hilarious because I specifically remember one of the things that the building crew did was add the silverfish blocks. You know, those silverfish blocks. It's silverfish hidden as blocks, as stone, cobblestone, or whatever it was. And Gavin was running into a lot of these silverfish. He was getting frustrated, and Michael happened to run into him. And then Michael tried it once to where he tried to trap him. Gavin noticed it. Gavin's like, Michael, you trying to trap me? And Michael just starts laughing and tells him, yeah, I did try to trap you. And then it happens again. But this time Gavin didn't notice it because I think Gavin had broke too many blocks and there was too many silverfish. And the area he was in was so small, he was getting pulverized by the silverfish. Dude, Michael is already running, and then this guy turns around, puts 2 blocks in front of Gavin. Gavin, he's in panic mode. He does not know how to break blocks at this point. He's in panic mode, so he's losing it. He just ends up dying, and Michael loses. Michael loses himself. He just starts laughing hard, and it's hilarious. If I can find that clip, I'll definitely put it on the screen for you guys to see that moment. That was one of my favorites personally in that Minecraft series. There's a lot of series that they had, but that Minecraft series was my all-time favorite because they would do different stuff. They would do like different challenges, different obstacles that the building team will build. The wipeout, remember the first time they did the wipeout? That was hilarious. Then they did him again with Jeremy. That's when Ray was gone. Alright, sorry about that. My SD card is apparently full, so I had to re-record just the Ray part where, like I was saying, Ray was leaving the group. He decided to venture on his own and be his own self, which he's a full-time streamer now. That's what he does full-time. And they were celebrating him in this Minecraft episode. They were just celebrating him, showing him good stuff, having good memories of what they had, good memories they had with him. And guy was hilarious. And he was the best gamer on all of them. And there's this tunnel that they had that only they knew what was in it. And then when Ray left, he went inside the tunnel because they dismissed him and they finally said goodbye, and he logged out. Did this epic outro for Ray and whatever. But my thing is, like, what was in that tunnel? We never found out what was in the tunnel. Like, because I remember at one point Gavin or Michael wanted to show what was in that tunnel, and they were like teasing it, or they were walking into that tunnel, and Jeff was adamant on, nah, you cannot show what's in there. Now, for all we know, they could have been joking, and there was nothing in that tunnel, or what they had. It's just some sort of secret that they had amongst each other, I guess you could say. That's the best I can think of. I don't know what else they had in that tunnel, if they did have anything. And like I said, Jeff was very, very adamant in not letting them show what was in the tunnel, just in general, which was crazy. Another memory was Gmod. They were playing Gmod. This part was hilarious to me. They were doing the Gmod where there was one terrorist, and they had to figure out who the terrorist was in game. Meaning the quote unquote terrorist, his goal was to kill everybody else. But while you're over here trying to investigate, trying to figure out, act normal, while the terrorist is acting normal, he's not, he's acting like everybody else, so he won't give himself away. At the same time, the people that are trying to figure out who the killer is, they could start picking up pieces to build this gun. But the thing about this gun is, if you shoot an innocent, you ended up dying. The one that shot the gun ended up dying because you shot an innocent. Meaning, you didn't shoot a killer. You didn't shoot the killer. You shot an innocent. So you're the one that gets unalived. And in that episode, Michael was the killer, and Michael had the killer has certain weapons only they can use, and I think he had just got one of the weapons. He was next to Ryan, and Ryan. This is the thing about these guys: they will shoot anybody just to shoot them, and just have this full entertainment, which was hilarious. Ryan shoots Michael, kills Michael because Michael was the killer. And Michael's reaction was just, and Ryan's too, it was so hilarious. I was cracking up. It was hysterical. It was one of my favorite moments of all time. Hysterical, hilarious. Best moment. I was cracking up hard in that episode. I was cracking up hard in that episode. It was one of the best things ever. One of the best things ever. But I feel like we talked about enough on the memories. Some of my bit memories that I had with them. Oh, well, another quick memory is I did meet all the voice actors. Ruby, Weiss, Blake, and Yang. I do have the whole set signed. But they're not my Funko Pop display. They're like hidden somewhere. Cause Lindsay, she was such a sweetheart. She was actually making conversation with me and Little A. We were having a conversation with her, talking to her about how's her role been, and we should see Michael more. Same thing with Weiss, and same thing with Yang. They were sweethearts. They were amazing to talk to. They were great. They were great to talk to. Blake, I asked 2 questions, and literally, I'm not trying to be an asshole, but like, I asked 2 questions, and just the way she was responding, I said, man, you know what? I'm not gonna waste my time with you. You don't want to make conversation? Just sign my pop, and I'm getting out of here. No engagement whatsoever. I know I'm still gonna keep this positive, but I had to say this because if Ruby Weiss, if Barbara, Lindsay, and what's the other one's name? Barbara, Lindsay, and the other voice actor were sweet enough to make conversation with me. Because I was asking questions, they were asking me questions, and we were just having a small conversation. It didn't have to be a full-blown conversation. But they engaged with me as a fan, and I loved it. That's the simplest thing she could have done. I know she has some past experiences from the past, at least from what I know, but it doesn't mean. I mean, she just signed my pop, and I said, you know what? I'm done asking questions. I said, you know what? You have a great day. And I walked off. But shout out to Ruby voice actor, Lindsay, Weiss voice actor, which I think is. No, Barbara's Yang. Weiss is. I remember her name. I remember her name. Ruby, Weiss, and Yang. Shout outs to y'all 3. At Anime Frontier Year 1. That was Anime Frontier Year 1. When I got those pops signed. Yeah. Last experience, last memory that I had with them. Now, the questions that I had that I wanted to answer, and you guys let me know down in the comments. What do you think about these acquisitions, or who will make these purchases, if anybody will make these purchases? And Ruby, Genlock, and Red vs. Blue are being sold by Warner Brothers, meaning these aren't getting disbanded completely. So one big studio, or one big animated studio, whatever studio it is, Sony, Microsoft, whoever it could be, can buy these shows, either all 3 together, or just each of these shows will go their separate ways. And I saw a video of somebody making like he was commenting on this of the show's getting sold, and he said he doesn't see Genlock getting bought nor Red vs. Blue, because Red vs. Blue after a while, let's be honest, it wasn't the same. The one he said he does see getting bought is Ruby, which I agree with him. Genlock, I never watched Genlock, so I don't know about Genlock. And Red vs. Blue, a big fan of it, but fell off of it after a while because it just wasn't the same for me. And yeah, I think Ruby will be the only show that will get bought, or probably it will be. Well, it depends how Warner Brothers is selling them. Obviously, if they really want to get rid of them, they will be like, look, this is how I would see it myself. I would be like, look, we'll have Ruby's the main one they want to sell to me. So I would be like, look, Ruby's our main chicken. It's the one that has the bigger fan base. And we'll throw in we want this for Ruby, and we'll throw in Genlock and Red vs. Blue. What do you think? That's the way I would do it. But Warner Brothers being a business, being a company, I don't know if they'll do it like that. But yeah, I think Ruby will be the only one as well, unless they're sold as a set where you have to buy all 3 shows, and Warner Brothers wants to set them out for all 3 shows. Which, even Ruby's being Ruby, it's not where it used to be, because the story has fallen off like crazy too. And Warner Brothers can't be asking for too much, in my personal opinion. They can't be asking for too much for Ruby or any of these other shows, honestly. Yeah, well, if somebody does buy them, we'll definitely hear about it. Just like we heard about Rooster Teeth will be no more. 21 years of no more Rooster Teeth. Think about that. Crazy. Now, I don't know if they're going to keep their videos up on YouTube. I hope they do, just for us to go back and visit those great times that we had when it was such a, because yeah, Rooster Teeth is not what it used to be. Sadly, they weren't getting traction no more. Well, they had their fans and everything, but it just wasn't up there and what it used to be. So this is just a decision Warner Brothers like, look, they're a business at the same time. They're not ranking us in what we thought they were. We either sell them, which the reason they didn't sell them because like, look, AT&T was the owners at first, and they're like, look, they were selling them. Nobody was really rushing to buy them. Why would we try to sell them then? The best thing for us to do, our best interest to do, is to completely disband this company. This company will be no more. So that one thing to think about too is everybody that worked there has to find a new job, has to find something new to do, which they're all, I guess you could say, somewhat set, so they could be full-time streamers, or they themselves can get together, since they're such good friends, and just make their own group, be themselves, make a new name, and start from zeros. Just focus on streaming, focus on them giving us entertaining content. It's something that they can really do. Which are they gonna do? We don't know. I haven't seen the reactions of none of Michael, Gavin, or them. I haven't seen the reactions of them, so we don't know what's gonna happen. If they're gonna do like their own thing, or they're gonna get together and like build a whole new thing. We don't know. We don't know that. The other question I had was, who is most likely to buy Ruby? The reason I want to focus on Ruby, because like I said, it's the bigger one. This can be pure speculation of who I think is going to buy Ruby and why it will make sense for them to buy Ruby. To me, and I'm saying this based off my opinion, if Ruby doesn't get bought, scrap it completely. I'm talking about from the very beginning. Maybe you could keep season 1. Maybe. But just scrap. If I had the money, I would buy it and scrap the whole story. We're starting from zero. Because this story we have now makes no type of sense whatsoever. Scrap it completely. I'm keeping the same voice actors. Feel how I already feel. I'm like, look, if you want to go do something, I'll find some other voice actors. I personally would scrap the whole story completely and get a good writer, a good director to give me something that Ruby should have been. To me, Ruby, watching it from season 1, I would keep season 1, and we go off of that. It has to do with this beast, and Ruby could be a bit more bloodier, a bit darker. It could be a bit of a dark fantasy, sci-fi action, which it should have been, but it just didn't go that way. You know what I'm saying? It went a completely different route. And then obviously, with the villains that they had, no redemption in my story. Are we getting rid of characters? Oh, we getting rid of characters. But that's just me. Who I think will buy them, or I think should buy Ruby. I say this because I spoke to them and they should buy High Dive off of AMC. Is Xbox, Microsoft. So they can slowly start getting into the anime scene. Because we do not need a monopoly. I don't need Sony controlling everything. I don't need High Dive disappearing and now we have everything on one app. Which will be cool. At the same time, I'm like, dude, Crunchyroll focuses on the popular stuff. All these other animes that could have been popular are no longer going to be popular. This library is too freaking massive. We at least need High Dive. So I say Microsoft has to buy Ruby. To me, Xbox, they're the ones I think should buy them. Now, will they? I don't think so, because they don't venture. They don't have their own shows or none of that. Obviously, another company I can see buying Ruby, which is the most likely one, is Netflix. Now, obviously, look, once Ruby gets bought, these companies can do as they wish. Scrap the whole thing, keep the story going, start changing stuff up. Netflix loves changing stuff up, so I wouldn't be surprised if Netflix does end up buying Ruby and start switching things up, or they just give Ruby a whole reboot. Amazon is another one that I can see. The most likely ones, the ones I want to buy Ruby, is Microsoft. But the ones, this is pure speculation, the ones I see a higher chance of buying Ruby is either Netflix and Amazon and Disney. Those are the big three that I see the big ones that I see buying Ruby. Because Netflix, they do their own shows. Amazon does as well. And Disney does as well. And even then, Netflix teams up with studios to make their own originals. But recently, they done an amazing job with Blue-Eyed Samurai. They animated that themselves. Netflix, you need to keep doing that, because that was an absolute beauty of animation. But like I said, those are the three main ones that I see pulling out the cash to buy Ruby. Genlock and Red vs. Blue, they'll be like, you know what? If you really would just give you this for those two, give us those as well. Or they'll probably go to separate ways. Genlock seems more like Amazon one. And then I see Ruby and Red vs. Blue in Netflix's hands. Like I said, I never see Genlock, so I don't know much about Genlock, so do not ask me about Genlock. Yeah, I kind of combined two questions, because the company I would like to buy Ruby is Microsoft, so they can start get into that scene, to start Sony in the aspect of in anime, you could say, challenge Sony, obviously. They got the two big ones, Crunchyroll and Funimation. Like I said, High Dive is AMC. High Dive is great, by the way. Check out High Dive. High Dive is fantastic. Now, will they? No, they're not gonna do it. As much as I want them to, they're not gonna do it. Like I said, the companies I really see buying Ruby, and maybe the other two is Netflix. It will either be Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Disney. Those are the three main ones I see. Simply because these animations are American. These aren't considered anime because they didn't come from quote unquote Japan. Whatever, to me they're American anime. That's just me. What do you think? Do you think any of these companies will buy them? I'm pretty sure they're gonna be like, they're gonna tell Warner Brothers like, look, they have their fan bases, but we're not gonna give you too much for these three, or just Ruby in general, and they'll probably buy them for cheap. Obviously, it's gonna be a big number for us, but cheap for any of these three companies if they will buy them. I don't know, man. If Netflix is buying them, I just see them continuing the story. I don't think they will scrap anything. Same thing with Amazon. I don't think they will scrap anything. And Disney would probably make a bunch of spin-offs. That's what Disney would do. Make a bunch of spin-offs of Ruby. Cause the Ruby Ice Queendom, I'm pretty sure that's there too. Not just the story, but this spin-off too. I watched Ice Queendom, or tried to watch Ice Queendom. Boy, it was horrible. I couldn't do it. I said, nope, I dropped it. It was terrible. One thing I did like about Ice Queendom is it showed a bit more about our four heroines. It showed a bit more about Ruby, a bit more about Blake, Yang, and Weiss. It showed a bit more about them. But like I said, if any of them, my thing to do, or I hope that these massive companies do, is scrap the whole thing. Because Ruby, to me, should have been a way darker story. Four amazing girls. When I mean the four amazing girls, I mean the Ruby, Yang, Blake, and Weiss from season 1 and 2 and 3. Not Ruby, Blake, not the ones from today. Though this new season is quote unquote airing. I don't know if it's still going to be airing, by the way, or it's finished. I want that old school Ruby crew that had insecurities, that had issues, trust issues amongst each other. This should have been when Blake left. All Yang was sad. Man, girl, you left. You would have came back. I'd open a can of whoop ass and gave it to you. When the hell did you go? And now you want to come back? Hell no. Take your ass on. We don't need you no more. And they'll have like this beef. I'm like, this story should have been completely different. It should have been a whole lot darker, in my opinion. Because that old crew of Ruby, season 1 and 2, 3, I loved it. Because even with their insecurities, with the trust issues amongst each other, the trust was more between Weiss and Yang. I mean, Weiss and Blake. They would still manage to work together. They would still manage to be a team. Because some of the decisions they made in these other newer seasons, God have terrible. Who wrote this story? Monty did an amazing job, and whoever just took over just couldn't keep to his standards, in my opinion. But anyways, that's enough about me going on this rant on this podcast, on this solo cast. Senpcast episode 2. I think that's it for me, guys. That's my opinion. That's what I think personally. Who should buy Ruby? What the story should have been. And some of my memories that I had watching the content creators do. Definitely gonna miss Michael, Gavin, Jeff, Jack, some of the new people, Travis, uh, Barbara. By the way, the whole voice actors are going to be at WeebCon. They're all going to be there, so you guys can get to meet them there. Maybe ask them some questions. I'm debating on going to WeebCon probably just day 2 and 3, which I most likely I will do since I'm not at the major this weekend of Halo. But yeah, you guys can still meet them and maybe ask them, see if they got any answers for you guys. And what do you think the future would be for Ruby if they know anything at all? But that is it, guys, for me. My ass hurts from sitting here for such a long time. Hopefully you guys enjoy this solo cast. Next episode I will definitely have my co-host back, because I have some great ideas for a podcast. And I might have one more person included if they want to be included. I do want to have a Toriyama podcast. Just talk a little bit more about his impact and what he did. Maybe do some research on him and just kind of just do like a small memory for Toriyama. Told one of my other brothers he didn't sound too excited to sit down, not because he loves Toriyama, but just the way he answered me is basically what I'm saying. The way he answered me is like, okay, you know what? If I had to do that episode myself again, I'll do it myself. Just saying. But anyways, guys, that is it for me. Thank you guys for listening to episode 2 of the Senpcast. And I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy. Try to